All right, good morning. Welcome to this week's weekly webinar. Melissa is at a training this morning, so this is Gail. I'm filling in, and we're going to have some fun diving into some different tools you can use for communication and collaboration in all different types of settings and for different purposes. I'll just do a quick sound check out there. Can everyone hear me good? If someone would just post in the comment section on the right, let me know we're good to go and you guys can hear me. It's always the one thing I'm nervous about, the sound. Perfect. Thank you, Stacy. Okay, so let's get started. If you would go ahead and make sure to sign in. I posted the link in the comments on the right side. Make sure you sign in there and you choose collaboration and communication for your option today. I'm also going to just do a quick little overview of going into YouTube, making sure that you have changed your settings so that your screen is nice and beautiful and clear by changing it to the 720, and then you should be good. So we'll go ahead and slide that out of the way and we will get started. All right. So today we're going to dive into some different tools for collaboration and communication. We'll start with Google, and then we're going to go branch out a little bit and talk about Flipgrid and Screencastify and some different fun things you can do to get your kids or staff or anyone really communicating digitally. So remember, you can always post comments on the right side if you have any questions, or if you'd like to share out some tools you're using or different ways that you might be using the resources. Always love to hear from you guys. Make sure you switch your chat on the right-hand side to live chat. That way you can see what everyone's posting. If you leave it on the top chat, you tend to sometimes miss messages that people are posting on the side. And if you would just go ahead and shout out on the side, say hello, let us know who's with us, and then chime in as we go. So the first two tools we're going to talk about today are Google Docs and Slides, and then also a cool feature you can use in Google Classroom. So first things first, Docs and Slides. This might be a quick refresher for some of you. You already know this and you do it, and if that's the case, then great. Actually, you know what I'm going to do real quick, just so that it makes your ease of clicks easy. I'm going to give you guys the presentation that we're in right now. That way you can just open it up and view it on your screen. So I'm going to post this into the comment section right now, the link to the slideshow that we're using. And if you just click on that, you should be able to hop into our webinar and click on the links live instead of having to type them in. Sometimes that can be annoying. All right, so first thing we're going to look at is the Google Docs and Slides. So if you either type this in, or if you can open up the slideshow and then click on it, and we're going to play around a little bit with collaborating in Docs. So I'm just going to open that up real quick. We're going to go live here. If you click on that link, it's going to take you to this document right here, Melissa and I created. And if any of you out there would go ahead and hop onto this doc so we can show some real-time sharing, that would be great. As people start to hop into documents that you share with others, you'll see little circles pop up on the right corner, and that will tell you who is in the document. So we thought it would be fun just to do some real-time live collaboration. And so if you can hop into the doc right now, we'll go ahead and go back here. Go ahead and type in your name, what your role is, and the best thing about your job. So I put mine in here, and I'll go ahead and hop back so you can get the link if you didn't get it in the comments section. And then we'll check back in later to see who has added something. So one thing, here's the link right here. So if you either type that in a new window, you can always go incognito, or you just open up a new tab and type this link in. I also shared the slideshow on the right side, so you can click on that and you'll jump into the presentation. When you're in Google Docs and you're collaborating with other people, like I said, you'll see them pop up in the right corner. If anyone who's listening right now, I see we just have some new listeners join us. So what we're doing right now is talking about collaboration using Google Docs. And if you look on the, oh, there we go. Perfect. Thank you. Thank you for joining us. You're going to go ahead and jump in there and let us know your name, your job, and the best thing about your job. So that was perfect timing. This is what it looks like when you communicate live time in Google Docs or Google Slides, either one of them, or really any Google tool. You can see the person typing directly with you. You can leave each other comments on the side. And then the other great feature about the collaboration piece in Google Docs or Slides is this section right here will take you to the version history. So you can see who did what within your document, right? It also lets you know timestamps, right? And if we pull this up tomorrow, I can actually go back in and you'll see here it says name this version, which is really cool. So let's say I want my original version back. I like the comments everyone left, but I want my original version. I can go back and name that and say original, and then it will save it as its own document. You can save all your versions separately or make yourself a copy of them. Right, so that's really handy if you're working with other people. You can also restore it. So let's say you don't like any of it, you can restore it, and that will take out everybody else's comments. I see Melissa's in there too somewhere. Looks like she's hopping in from her training. So great, thank you for hopping in there and adding in some comments, showing the live collaboration in Google Docs. Again, you can see all the people who are in your document at the top. You can also go back to the revision history and update that or save yourself a copy. And great for kids to collaborate, also really great for teachers to do some common planning on lesson plans. We know we're all probably working at home anyway sometimes, so hopping in there together is kind of cool to be able to do that from the comfort of wherever you are. And it works the same way. So if it's docs or slides, same exact kind of share features. Okay, thank you, Stacy, for letting me know. You can always jump in. You can jump into some of these docs later on when you have time to explore. Okay, so that was Google Docs. Well, next thing we're going to talk about is the Google Classroom feature. So when I was back in the classroom, this was one of the cool tools I found very helpful in Google Classroom. It's not really a group feature, but there's a way to make it so that you can group students, or if you have a book club that you're working on with teachers. I know we did that once. We did a common novel that we were reading for professional development. I'll show you how that works. So you would go into one of your Google Classrooms. I'm just going to pick this one. I did some PD at Omni. And when you create your assignments under your classwork tab, go to create, and you pick the assignment. Typically what people do is leave it here at all students. So that means that when you post that assignment out, everybody in the class is getting that assignment. But let's say you have a small group of students working on one topic, like I'll just throw this out there, black holes. That's a hot topic right now, right? So if you just wanted a few students to work on an assignment for black holes, what you would do is take off the all students and just pick a few. So let's say I want these 3 people to be in their own group. I'm going to click those 3 people in. Now they're the only ones who are going to be assigned to this topic, right? So then I'll put black holes. Have some brainstorming sessions in the chat feature. So when I go ahead and assign this now in Google Classroom, the only people who are going to see that assignment are my black hole group, the 4 students that I assigned. What I like about this is in, let's say, literature circles, I would put a novel up there, and then just the 4 students in that group are the only ones who can communicate back and forth in the chat feature, which kind of turns it into a blog type experience for them. So one of them might be the person who's in charge of blogging. They post a question, and then everybody else chimes in their answers as they're reading along in the novel. So it's not necessarily a group feature, but it's one way to work around that in Google Classroom so you can make it more of a blogging experience for the kids. So you would go in, you would assign different topics and only assign 4 or 5 students to that group. And that's one way to make groups in Google Classroom. All right, so we're going to head back into let's check our document, see if anybody else posted. Okay, well, we got one person, that's good. All right, let's go back to the presentation, and we're going to go to our next cool tool. All right, are you ready for this? So Flipgrid has been a really neat tool. You see it out there, you hear about it, but what is it? So today we're going to talk quickly about the ease of use of Flipgrid. Those of you who are listening, if you guys would have some fun with me today, and once in just a minute, I'm going to ask you to go to a Flipgrid and record a response. So get ready to play. If you thought you were just going to be sitting there listening to me, guess again. So Flipgrid is like a social learning platform, but it allows students or teachers, if you're going to use this in PD, if you were doing a faculty meeting, to go in and post a response in a video version. So you can see that you would actually record yourself responding or reflecting on the topic that you are doing in your classroom. Okay, so I also saw our numbers jumped a little here. So if you're just joining us today, go ahead and say hello on the right side chat comment, just so we can welcome you into our conversation today. We're getting ready to talk about Flipgrid. All right, so I think the best thing to do is I'm going to go live into my Flipgrid. Actually, I'm going to send you guys into one, and then I'll show you the back end if you were going to run your own. And then, of course, like any weekly webinar at the end, if you want us to come out and help you with this, set this up, or spend some more time discussing it, you can let us know. All right, so what I'm going to ask you guys to do, again, is to open a new tab. One thing you might want to do with the weekly webinar is if you pin that tab there. So remember, you go to the top, you right click, and you click pin tab. This will make it so you're not going to lose us here at the weekly webinar, and you still have that tab saved to the side. But what I'm going to ask you to do is to open a new tab and go to flipgrid.com. So if you have the PowerPoint open on your screen, you can always hover this and it'll take you there. Otherwise, you're going to open a new tab and you're going to go to flipgrid.com. So I'm going to open one up real quick for you just so you can see. I'm actually going to open it in incognito. Flipgrid.com. And so when you go to flipgrid.com as a user, which is you guys, you're going to go ahead and type in your Flipgrid code. Are you ready for that? So those of you who are joining, if you want to go ahead into the Flipgrid and play around with that, I'm going to give you the code right now, and it is on our slide. So that Flipgrid screen, here's the code, right? B32456 4NC. So if you're joining from the outside, you open a new tab, go to flipgrid.com, and type in this code here to have some fun playing around with Flipgrid. What you'll notice, I asked a question about what are some ways that you get your students or staff or wherever role you're in right now to collaborate and communicate digitally. I posted one yesterday, so you can watch that, see how quick and easy it is. It's only 18 seconds, so however long you want to speak it caps off at 1.5 minutes. So you have a long time to talk if you want to. All right, so those of you on the outside, I'll give you a minute to play around with that. While I go ahead and go into the teacher end of it so you can see what that looks like. All right, so when you go to Flipgrid as a teacher and you log yourself in, so you'll go ahead, set yourself up an account through like sign in with Google like we do typically, allow it the access that it needs, and then you'll have your own teacher account, just like what you see in front of you right now. And so I've set up 2 grids. A grid is your class. So you can see this was my students here. And then I set up a new grid today for this one called PD trainings. So you guys are working in the PD training grid. So as a teacher, I can click on the PD grid and it's going to take me to the posts that I've done. They always give you a couple just so you can collaborate with the Flipgrid community. And then here's the one that you guys are working in today. So remember, I'm looking at this from the teacher end. This is so simple and easy to use. So once I create that grid, I just click new topic, right? You might want to call your topic, let's just make this fun, best weekend fun, right? And then you could put your question here. Tell us one high and one low from your weekend. So my daughter is in first grade, and I hear that every day they come in after the weekend, they share their highs and lows as part of the SEL curriculum. And so this is one way that you could do this, and kids could really feel comfortable to go in and then post their response in a video version instead of having to say it out loud to the whole class. So once you create yourself a topic and you create a question, that's pretty much it. You have some privacy options. So this is a great feature depending on the group that you're working with, the video moderation. Basically, if you click this option, it's going to ask you to approve any videos before they get posted to the grid, which can sometimes be helpful, like I said, depending on who you're working with. Right now I have it set just to post videos, so I'm not reviewing them before I post them. So you can do that. It's great for kids, classes. Attachments, if you want to put an assignment up, like read this article and then share your ideas, you can put a link to the article in there. You can also allow students to use stickers and drawings or to post responses to each other in the Flipgrid. So it depends. Once you get your kids working or your staff working in Flipgrid, then you can kind of open up some of these other cool features. And that's it. And you create your topic. It lets you know your code that you're going to share out. The great thing about this is nobody has to have an account in order to actually do the Flipgrid. You just share that code when they go to flipgrid.com, and then they can post their responses. So let's see. I don't see anyone posted yet, but that's okay. Maybe we're still working on it or we're playing around with it. I'm going to also show you real quick from the student perspective, even though some of you are probably in there doing it. Let's see. So if I was coming in as a student, this is what my screen looks like. I posted mine yesterday. So it gives me the option to tap to record another video. So if I click this option, it's going to let me record another response to the question about how I get students or teachers to collaborate and communicate digitally. Oh yeah, Stacy, that's a good question. This would work on your smartboards. Your smartboard, remember, is like a computer. So when you switch over from the whiteboard option to the computer option, anything that you open on your computer, you can open on your flat panels. Yes. And I'm trying to think, if you were going to do that, you could actually record a whole class Flipgrid. So if you wanted your whole class to say something out loud and post it, that would be one way, using the camera feature on your smartboard. Or you can also at least pull up your flips and show them in a bigger version, which would be kind of cool to share out some of the responses people left. So if you're still playing around with that, then go ahead and try to record yourself responding, and then I'll come back to that at the end of our webinar today and see if anyone else was able to post a response in Flipgrid. Yeah, lots of fun. And I recently saw some Flipgrid tents going around. So if you're in a classroom and you're wondering how do you get kids to do this when you have a bunch of them in a classroom, it was like a little pop-up changing tent, and the teacher set up a blanket and a Chromebook inside. And so kids could go in and record their responses in a quiet setting instead of with everybody else around. Yes, Stacy, thank you. If you share that with your Trailblazers, that's awesome. Thanks. I'm sure maybe some of them are using it. It would be a great kind of thing to share out at your school site. My goal is to push this into PD also. I think teachers would have a lot of fun sharing out some reflections on their, I should use fun like loosely, sharing out some of the reflections from the PD that they do. Okay. Yeah, like a confessional. That's exactly kind of what it's like. Exactly. Yeah, so Flipgrid's really, really cool, and we can help you out with that. If you want to try it out at your school site, just let us know, and Melissa or I can come out and help you with that. Okay, let's check back in with our presentation and see where we left off. So Flipgrid, we got 2 more tools. We're like power cramming here today, communication and collaboration. Got 2 more tools we're going to go into. And then if you're joining us at the end, or if you're joining us in recording version, please feel free to go into the Flipgrid on your own time and add whatever you'd like there and play around with it. It's there for you to use and have some fun with and learn. Okay. Next tool number 3. All right. Oh, so a computer doesn't have a camera. Okay, no problem. That's fine. When you get a chance, you can try that out with the camera. And I also think it will give you an option to, because I'm sure there's other people who don't have cameras also. If you take, oh, you need a camera too. Sorry. I was going to say a selfie. It lets you take the option of a selfie, and then you can post it if you don't want to actually do a video. You can do a voice recording over your selfie. But yes, that is one thing with Flipgrid that the camera does. It is kind of a requirement for. Okay. Next tool we're going to talk about today. I get a lot of questions about screencasting. So what's the best tool? What's the easiest tool? And depending on who you're talking to, you're going to get a lot of different answers. So the one that I found most helpful is Screencastify. And now they have it as an extension on your Chrome browser. So that makes it even more convenient to use. So it captures really quick video. You can do video with no voice. You can actually just do a screenshot. So those of you out there who didn't have the camera for Flipgrid, you can use just the screen sharing option in Screencastify, so you don't need a camera. You don't even need a mic. You can see the one that I posted in our PowerPoint presentation here does not have any volume. I'm just highlighting where people should click to do something in that video. So I'm going to show you what it looks like real quick. If you look at your toolbar up here, this is all of, I am a extension collector. I don't know if that's the best thing, but you can see these are all my extensions up at the top. And this is the Screencastify right here. So if you go to your Chrome store, thank you for sharing the link out again to the presentation. That's helpful. If you go to the Chrome store and look for Screencastify, you'll find the extension. Add that to your browser, and this is what your icon looks like right here. So it's as simple as this. I'm not going to actually record because I'm afraid it's going to take over the audio and video for the webinar, but I will show you what it looks like when I click the button. Let's say you have a PowerPoint presentation and you know you want to get it out and it's real quick. You just want to explain something in the presentation. This is what you're going to do. You have your Screencastify up, and when I click the icon here, it gives me some options. So you can do just your browser tab. So whatever one you're working in, just one tab, it'll let you pick. You can do your desktop, which is your entire screen. Or you can do the webcam only, which is just you in front of the camera recording yourself. Same kind of features as when you do Hangouts. You have to give the microphone access. You also want to make sure you have the right microphone in, and you see this little bar moving, so it's recording your voice. And then you just click record. It counts down, and then it starts recording your screen. And I just upgraded myself to the premium version, which was $24 for the year, but the free version works perfectly fine. The premium version lets you clip your videos. So let's say you want to take out a chunk in the beginning where you were kind of fiddling around with it. But other than that, the free version is perfect. Just be ready to record after it counts down. The other great feature about Screencastify, and this is new, is that it lets you embed your Screencastify videos directly into your Google slideshow. So let's see if we can play this real quick. So I'll show you what it looks like when you embed it. But this is a Screencastify video I took showing people how to make a word limit on a Google form. Oh yeah, it's not going to let me do it right now, but that's okay. So I'll show you how you can embed it, and then maybe let's see. There you go. So you can see I didn't use any voice. I didn't need to use a microphone for this. I also just used the desktop option. And I highlighted with the highlighter tool. You can see there's that white circle there, what people needed to do if they wanted to change it to have a word limit on their Google form. All right, so I'll show you what it looks like if you want to embed this. Just like you have extensions, you also have add-ons in Google Slide. Add-ons are different than extensions. Extensions kind of work with your whole Chrome system. Add-ons will only work specifically to slides or to forms or to docs. So when you go to add-ons, if you click Get Add-ons, it's going to let you choose some additional, I'll click on that for you, kind of like go shopping in the Chrome store, right? So these are things that just work with Google Slides. I already have it in there, so I'll show you what it looks like. See, it says Screencastify for slides. If I click this, it's going to pull up all of my Screencastifys that I've made. And the great thing is it's compatible with Chrome. So pretty much wherever you are, whenever you log in, it's going to pull up all the videos that you've made. So here's all my Screencastify videos, and I can just pick one. I picked this one to embed. When you click on it, it's just going to put it directly into your slideshow. So when you're presenting your slide, you have that video there ready to go to share out. So that's one of the great compatibility features with Screencastify and Google Slides. All right, we're powering through here. We have one more. Are you ready? All right, last one, and I think a lot of people are familiar with this. This is Padlet. And so Padlet is basically a digital bulletin board. Right, and I put a couple different ways you could use Padlet. If anyone uses it out there in a different way, feel free to shout out how you're using it or how you found it useful. So some things I put here was you can share and add to a digital resource center. So I know a lot of people create a Padlet. The one I've been using recently has a lot of hyperdocs that people have just shared. Hundreds of hyperdocs people have shared on their Padlet. And so it's a great resource center. Also showcasing student work. So you can make it a place where people can take a picture of what they've been doing and post it into Padlet. And I'll show you what that looks like in just a minute. Entrance and exit tickets are another great way. Book discussions. And also for gathering feedback. So I've used it after I've done a professional development where there's a Padlet for people to go post reflections or feedback from the trainings. So if you want to play around here, I know we're running a little short on time, but if you'd like to play around with the Padlet, this is the link to get there. And then it'll pop up our Padlet. Let's get back over there. Melissa's texting me on the side, trying to go over and see what she's telling me. All right, good. Nothing major. All right, so if you click on the link, it takes you to this Padlet here. We're having fun today, so not too serious, but I want to show you real quick how you post. When you click on that Padlet link, it lets you use that little plus sign, just like you would in Google, you had the plus, and lets you open up a window. You could title it, you could write something. The post I asked you guys to do was to post a teacher meme, or whatever kind of meme shows how you're feeling today or right now. All right. And the great thing here is you don't even have to leave to search. If I click that little web feature, I'm going to do teacher PD meme. See if the one I want pops up. I'm sure, well, PD is always a touchy subject, right? Let's use this one and see how it goes. And then once it's there, it's there. So it says teacher sitting through PD, be like, so that is what my students feel like when watching my PowerPoints. Wow. I hope that's not how you guys feel today. Okay, so if you go into the Padlet and share out your favorite teacher meme or a meme on how you're feeling today, that's fun also. We'll check into that later. Want to see if anybody put anything in the Flipgrid. If not, I understand this was a fast session that we were going through, so that's okay. Let's look at our Flipgrid. Nope. We only have one video so far, but that's good. So like I said, you can play around with these tools later. I know it was overwhelming and we covered a lot. So if you didn't get a chance to actually do a Flipgrid or do a Padlet, reach out to us, let us know. Or like I said, oh, we got one. Great. Thank you for posting that. The other thing with Padlet too is it can be anonymous, or you can link someone to it. If you have an account, when you go into Padlet, it'll actually link your name to it, right? So thank you for those of you out there playing around with Padlet and Flipgrid today. I appreciate that. I'm going to pop into our presentation because it is technically 9 o'clock. So let's go back in and just do some of the logistics we're going to cover like we would normally. For your homework, you can take any of the tools that we talked about today. So let's say you're collaborating in Google Docs and you want to take a screenshot of more than one person in a doc, that would work. Or if you can see when you were in there, you could see different colors of people working at the same time, take a screenshot of that. If you did a Flipgrid or if you did a Padlet, screenshot of that will work also. So make sure that you submit a screenshot of your homework to get the points for it in the end. And then, of course, the survey, if you would do that also. So I'm going to post this into the chat bar so you can go and take that survey for us. When you fill out the survey, if there's any, the evaluation form, if there's anything that you want help with from today, that's what you would put in the Edtech evaluation survey today. So if you want us to come out and help you or chat with you about making a Flipgrid or doing the Padlets or anything like that, Screencastify, we're happy to come out and help in any way that we can. So if you'll fill out the evaluation form, let us know if you'd like us to come and support you on that. And then also for our next week's webinar, which would be 4:30, we have Discovery, and they're going to do SOS strategies for the next webinar. So here's the Edtech survey, if you would fill that out for me. I am posting as Melissa because she's, like I said, she's at training today, but she's here in spirit because I see her on all of our documents. All right, so you guys, thank you so much for joining today. If you have any questions, I'll hang out for a minute if you want to post them in the side there. And then if you ask for support in the survey or in the Edtech evaluation, we'll be in touch with you shortly to help you out with any of the tools that we talked about today. You guys have a great day, and thank you for joining me.